What about this chap? You know, but we've got to deal with them. It's time we took these people down. He's a Bilderberger. So why is this man having meetings with a powerful elite in the world? He's supposed to be there serving us. So we need to remove him, but we need to do it in the right way. Oh dear. Yeah? It's not often we get the chance to actually look at these people. What a pair of idiots. They are traitors because they know perfectly well what's happening with the money supply and what Brown is doing, because the Labour Party, the Conservative Party and the Lib Dems are all taking policy advice from an organisation called Demos. We've proved that in the last edition of the column. And that means, strangely, a left-wing party and a right-wing party and a somewhere party, that's the Lib Dems, are all taking advice from a Marxist-based think tank that was set up to help Tony Blair, who you've just booed. So if Demos is driving the policy of the three parties, we can't bother anymore with voting for any of these people or dealing with our local MP if he's one of them. If he's one of them, he is one of them, and we need to ditch him or her. We need to pull these people down. We need to make idiots out of them. We need to challenge them why they aren't doing their job. I'm disappointed that we couldn't provide food and drink for you. Why does that come into my head? Bananas. Every time I look at this man, I see something not human. And of course, he was photographed with a banana. Do you remember that? You might not have seen it. He's a Marxist. We know all about him. We know his family. He's a Marxist. And he's playing around with policy which is destroying this country. If you met him in your local pub, would you want to talk to him? Don't think so. I've spoilt it. It's great fun booing, but we've got to remove them. And to remove them, we've got to bring them down, and that means exposing them. This man is disgusting. He is now making policy decisions which is affecting all of our lives. He hasn't even been elected into a proper position. He's just doing it. He's going off eating caviar on big yachts with very dodgy people. And at the moment, we are accepting it. And I haven't yet heard real opposition to these people from any of the other parties. Very diplomatic. You know who I'm talking about. So let's start pulling these people down. Because whilst he's interested in his grubby little activities, this is what's going on. And if you want to know why the troops are in Afghanistan and in Iraq, it is to keep them out of the country, to kill them, to maim them, so that we do not have troops to defend this country when they move in the European police. If you doubt what I am saying, you will shortly be learning through us and other means that military bases are being closed for British troops in this country, refurbished, ready for NATO troops. Why do you want NATO troops in Britain? Because when the violence starts on the streets, which is what the government is planning next, you use foreign troops because there's no risk they will fraternise with the demonstrators. It is not a game. This works all the time. The country's falling apart. You can see it, you know it, that's why you're here. Well done. But the slide into chaos, there's something behind it. If we analyse the country, here's a police state. The individual's there to serve the state. The state is governed by an elite. Is that what you're looking at? I think so. The state is the law. There's no such thing as a fair trial. People can be in prison without trial. This is happening on a daily basis in Britain. I get calls from people and they say to me, "You need to be very careful." And I say, "Why?" And they say, "Well, because somebody's going to shoot you or you'll disappear." And I say, "Why? I live in Britain. It's a democracy." Because the person who says that to me must know already it's not a democracy, it's a police state. When I die or disappear, it will be a big rubber stamp that everything I've told you is true. That's why, presumably, they don't do it, because I am annoying some people. Propaganda for the state, it is pouring out of the government, sheer lies and propaganda, and the BBC is doing it because the BBC is part of the machinery. The media, the newspapers, look at who controls them. A handful of people. It doesn't matter whether you read the Telegraph or the Express or the Mirror. It doesn't matter. The same individuals control them. The state maintains and funds an extensive intelligence and security system. Do you see they're recruiting more MI5 operatives? Have you seen that? They're recruiting ladies. It's in the paper. They put up adverts in gyms in London because they want fit, cunning ladies. They need them because there's some pretty poor MI5 operatives in this hall at the moment. Children are brainwashed. Children are being brainwashed in schools. The European stuff is in there. Don't take any notice of your mum and dad. Make sure you have a European food day. They're taught disgusting things about sex. They're shortly to be told that being heterosexual is not normal. Believe me, that is coming. And they're being asked to consider whether they'd be happy to be sat next to a clone. Children, they are going to brainwash completely. Who's heard of ARC, Absolute Return for Kids? Academy schools, have you heard of them? You need to find out about them because when you take a look at them, they don't have many windows. They're going to be wired up with so much Wi-Fi that the children are going to be on neat microwave the whole school day from the age of 3 to 18. They're going to have police and social services as an integral part of the school. And the people who are going to run the school are big international businesses, industrial military people like British Aerospace. And we've got the documentation, and it says that although they've got to have a normal curriculum when they start, if they want to change that curriculum at any time, they can do. You are about to watch children taken by the state, as in China, and brainwashed. So this is it. We have something very nasty inside the country. It's pulling us apart. You've got to see it to be able to stop it. And I'm delighted at the number of you who are now reacting. We get more and more and more calls from people saying, "I see it, I see it. This has happened. I found this document. This is what happened at work. I'm being sent on a course." So keep going, because the key to stopping it, which is what this meeting is about, is to explain it to other people. If the 40 million voters know that they're being brainwashed and attacked, they can deal with it. Now in the paper, this is page 6, down the right-hand side is a list of organisations which I've called change agents. Now some of them you will know: the Tavistock Institute, the Rowntree Foundation, the Claw Foundation, Common Purpose, IDEA, the Local Government Association. Do you know these organisations? Some of them. You need to read this. You need to get onto the computer and research them yourself, because when you know who funds these organisations, oh, money. Somebody funds them. Who funds them? The bankers. The bankers fund these people. But we've already heard that the bankers are all corrupt criminals. So when we see that Deutsche Bank, a German bank, a very big one, is a key funder of common purpose, we should be interested. We should be interested when we see JP Morgan funding a children's charity, Goldman Sachs. The moment you see the bankers connected with these change agents, you know that you're on the trail of something nasty. These are the organisations that form policy, and that is then injected into our society. You think it's coming through the government, it isn't.